Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you again from Joy Lacquer. I do have an 8-piece collection to share with you. I am not 1000% sure on the name of the collection. It'll obviously be in the title when I do find out, but at this moment I don't know. It has something to do with spring and flowers and plants, so I do know that much, but the names gave that away. But in the description box below, I will link the Joy site as well as their Instagram page, and I will also link my Instagram page where I will have more swatches of everything in this collection. I did also want to note that she sent her 320 Quick Dry Top Coat with the collection, and this performed magnificently. It dried really quickly. It wasn't too thick. It was easy to use. Left a beautiful shine. I only needed one coat with the glittery polishes in this collection, and nothing really dried textured, so I haven't used it on a textured polish to see just how well it eats glitter, but I will say it smoothed over everything in this collection just beautifully, so I really enjoyed this top coat. So I do have a rainbow of polishes to share with you today, and let's go ahead and get started. So first we have Dusim Dont, and this is a red to orange duochrome with holographic microglitter and UCC flakies. Those flakies do shift from like a red to an orange, and then there's like a smaller darker flaky as well. For all of today's swatches, I am using the 320 Quick Dry Top Coat from Joy Lacquer. Here's our first coat of Dusim Dont. And this is completely opaque in one coat. I am going to go in for a second coat just to see if it deepened the color at all, but this was my first time using it, so I know now that it doesn't. So you can totally get away with one coat on this. You get a ton of flakies out without having to do any kind of manipulating, and the formula on this is great. There's no running or pulling or anything like that. As I hit my side wall. So here's the second coat, and again, this is completely opaque. You will want a nice glossy top coat for this. It does dry down just a little bit dull, and it is going to be a little bit difficult to remove because there's so much going on in here. This also looks really beautiful with a matte top coat. So there's two coats. Next up we have this peach seems ranunculously right. And this is like a corally pink when it's cold, and then it goes to like a nudie pale orange when it is warm. It also has a pink shimmer and then a gold flaky. Here's our first coat of this peach seems ranunculously ripe. Again, this has a good formula. These are all mostly just a little bit on the thicker side as far as formulas go in general, but they don't run or pull or stain or anything like that. Again, very easy to use, beginner friendly. So here's our second coat, and this does cover completely in two coats. This one dries slightly sandy, but one coat of glossy top coat takes care of that, and it is slightly difficult to remove. The shift in this isn't super strong, but it is there when it's in comparison. So here it is in the cold water, the warm water, and then side by side. Up next we have our You Sedum This, and this is a turquoise base with a holographic micro glitter or holographic shimmer. It's not going to be a micro glitter, but as well as like a purpley to teal shimmer. Here's our first coat of our You Sedum This. Again, a little bit on the thicker side as far as formulas go, but it makes it pretty easy to work with, no running or pulling. It kind of stays right where you put it, but you can't over manipulate these either. They do dry pretty quickly, so if you do too many brush strokes, you're going to end up wiping off polish as it dries. So here's our second coat, and this one does cover completely in two coats for me, and for being such a light color, that is pretty good. If you have super white nail beds though, nail tips, you may end up needing a third coat because I could still kind of make out that little calcium deposit on my ring finger. So there's two coats. So up next we have Say Hello to My Little Friend, and this is a deep emerald foresty green, and it is chock full of UCC flakies and like a goldy silver shimmer. Here's our first coat of Say Aloe to My Little Frond, and again, it has a good formula. It's a little bit on the thicker side. It's not hard to work with by any means though. Again, you get a ton of flakies out with this one without having to do any kind of manipulating, and if you go on a little bit thicker like I did on my ring finger there, you could get pretty much opaque on just one coat, but I am going to go ahead and show you this on 2 coats, and it is completely opaque in 2 coats. Get a nice formula. I didn't have any staining with this one either. I will say the flakies that she used for this collection smell a little funky. Your nails ain't going to fall off. It's just the flakies. So there's 2 coats. Next up we have Forget Me Bot, and this is a cerulean blue with a scattered holographic effect and a purpley shimmer. I don't know, maybe it's a little silvery, maybe it's a little teal. It is looking a little bit purple in person, but the camera is picking up a different color. Here's our first coat of Forget Me Bot. This has the same formula and finish and everything as Ranunculus-ly Ripe, except it's not a thermal, but that it is like a little sandy when it dries, so it is slightly difficult to remove. I don't know if that's because there is a hidden micro glitter in here, but it is just something to note. So this does cover completely in 2 coats. Again, this dries down a little bit dull. Again, if your nail line is super duper white, you're going to end up probably needing 3 coats, but I am just fine in 2 coats here. So there's 2 coats. Next up we have Cactus Makes Perfect, and this is a grapey purple. This also has those UCC flakies that shift from like a blue to a pink to a purple. It also has a scattered holographic effect in there. Here's our first coat of Cactus Makes Perfect. Again, this is just a little bit sheer here on the first coat, so I'm going to go in for 2 coats. This does have a great formula though, easy to use, easy to work with, no running or pulling. It's a little bit, again, on the thicker side. I will say with all of these, except for the last one that I'm going to show you, since they are not so thick, but thicker, if you have to do 3 coats, it is going to end up feeling pretty heavy on your nails. So that is something to keep in mind. I would recommend 2 thicker coats as opposed to 3 normal coats. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Me Seymour, and this is a bubblegum pink with a blue-green shimmer, and I believe it also has a slight hint of a holographic effect. Here's our first coat of Me Seymour, and this is pretty doggone opaque on 1 coat. I am going to go in for 2 coats. The color does deepen up on the second coat, but I was pretty impressed with the coverage here on 1 coat. Again, this is easy to work with, no running or pulling or staining. And this one, I believe, is just a micro shimmer because I didn't have any difficulty removing it or anything. It does dry down just slightly dull though, so you will want a nice glossy top coat. Again, very easy to work with, no running or pulling. So there's 2 coats. And lastly for today we have Up Succa, and this is a khaki green with a strong purple shimmer, and it also has those UCC flakies that are going to shift from a purple to a blue to a pink to a magenta, and I believe a scattered holographic in there as well. And those UCC flakies, I feel like there are 2 different kinds of flakies in there. They've got the ones that I was just saying shift, and then it looks like they might have those iridescent rainbow flakies as well. And here's our first coat of Up Succa. This is pretty sheer here on this first coat, but it does build up pretty nicely. This is the only one that I had to do 3 coats for. You do get a ton of flakies out without having to do anything special. I didn't have my bottle upside down. I wasn't doing any kind of swirling or anything like that. So here's 2 coats, and depending on your preference and application, 2 coats might be just fine for you, but I am going to go ahead and show you a 3rd coat. It does get slightly thick on 3 coats though, so just keep that in mind if that's something that bothers you. The dry time again on these is pretty good though, so 3 coats wasn't an issue for me. So here's our 3rd coat. This does cover completely in 3 coats. This does dry slightly textured and a little bit dull, so you will want a nice glossy top coat, and it is slightly difficult to remove. I meant to try this over a black to see if it would pop any, but I didn't get around to doing that yet. So there's 3 coats. So my favorite of this collection is Say Aloe to My Little Friend. I love green. I love flakies. It had a good performing formula, so there's no reason this wouldn't be in my top spot. So Say Aloe to My Little Friend is my favorite. And that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of these polishes. Let me know if you plan on picking them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time. Bye.